Hi folks, welcome back to Stacey Can. Get ready with me as I prep for canning season. How does one prep for canning season? Pretty simple. You just figure out what you like and what you want to can. Some ways to do that is to get a good, up-to-date recipe book. This is the Ball New and Updated Complete Book of Home Preserving. I love it. I use it a lot. Get a lot of great recipes. National Center of Home Food Preservation is another one. Also your local extension office. Local extension office will also help you find the produce that's available to you. You know, we've had some wacky weather this year, and that can shift when food that you love is available to grow or purchase or however you want to do it. I don't garden, it makes me angry and cranky, so I buy from local farms. So I will be checking with local farms as well just to see. Strawberry jam is a big one in our family, so I will be checking to see when strawberries are available in my area. So those are just some things to think about before you plan and purchase your stuff. Check your equipment before you get started as well. It's always a good idea to do. Dust it off if it's been in storage, and it all applies for any equipment that you use, from a water bath canner to pressure canner, your fermenting crocks. Dust those off and clean them out. Your food dehydrators, just give everything a good check, turn everything on, make sure it all works. If you have a dial gauge pressure canner, call your local extension office and double check to make sure that where you can get your dial gauge tested to make sure it's working properly. Make sure you have a gasket if you have a gasket on your pressure canner. This is not a gasket one, so I don't have to worry about it, but if you have a gasket needed, get that checked, get your seals checked, everything. Just check it all out. Just check it all out. Make sure it's all in working order. It's always nice to have a look-see at your jars. Make sure that the rims don't have any chips in them or cracks in the jars in general. If you need to get new ones, by all means do that, because we've had a jar shortage in the last few years, so it's not a bad idea to look into those. If you like to freeze jams or jellies or etc., make sure you have your containers ready to go, and those are easy to do. And same thing with your lids and rings. It's always nice to get a new set of lids and rings if you need to, but just make sure that they're really not more than 5 years old, preferably. Sometimes you can find an expiration date on them, or just call the number on the back of the box of the lids and read off the lot number, and they can tell you how good they are, and especially if you've been storing them in a warm, dry place. I've used old lids before that were actually my grandmother's, and they were stored improperly, and when I tried to use them, the gasket melted and dripped all over the jar, and it didn't work, and it was a really sad day. So double check how old your lids are and make sure they're in good working order. Gather your base ingredients so you're all ready to go when the produce that you're looking for is ready to be picked. For instance, vinegar. If you are a pickler, you need to have 5% vinegar. So check out your labels and for your white vinegar or white distilled vinegar or apple cider vinegar. You can't use anything less than a 5% acidity on that. And you also, for shelf stability, if you're canning it, you can't use a homemade vinegar for that either, unless you're going to store it in the refrigerator. Then you can do whatever you want there. Pickling salt. I've gone to the store before and it hasn't been there, so grab your pickling salt. If you like to pickle here, you might want to get your own pickling spice or make your own. I prefer to make my own because it's a little bit cheaper. Your pectins or any of your other spices, for instance, like your produce saver or your ascorbic acids, things like that, double check the expiration dates. That's really important because they do expire, especially with your pectin. Check your expiration dates. Sugar, so if you use a lot of sugar and make a lot of jams, etc., maybe you want to get a big thing of sugar. That's up to you there. And then clear gel. Clear gel is something you have to order online, or double check at a farm store, or you have to call around for it. It's not a real easy thing to get. It's just a modified cornstarch. You can't use regular cornstarch when you're canning because it clumps up and makes it runny as it's being used in a pressure canner, etc. But this clear gel is a modified cornstarch thickener that works well for canning and is designed for canning. You can use it without canning if you want to as well, but make sure to grab that. And peppers or things like that, that if you're gonna make that, I'll be making another harissa sauce, and these peppers are fantastic for it. So when I see them on sale or whatever, I'll go ahead and grab some. But these are good things to have on hand when you are getting ready for your season. Check your tools before the season begins. I've got my cherry pitter here. I've got my chinois, or maybe you use a food mill. Double check to make sure you have the parts to those things, that they work and it's all dusted off. Your colanders, these are nice flat colanders that I like to use when we go berry picking. They're great for that because they don't smush the berries. And also just making sure that you've got your lid lifter, your headspace tools, your chopsticks, if you use a thermometer, if you need a ruler to make sure to measure out the appropriate levels of water in your canners. Those types of things are always nice to just double check that you have and they're in good working order and that you didn't lose them. A few miscellaneous items that I always like to just kind of keep on hand is an extra jelly strainer bag if you need it. They are reusable, but sometimes they get a little worn out, or maybe a little, if it's not appropriately cleaned in storage, it can get moldy and a little gross, so you might want to check those out. I also like to make sure I got some cheesecloth with me. I do reuse some of it, but they're great for spice bags, or get your own spice bag. You can make spice bags with these, or buy them, and some of the ones that you buy are reusable as well. So those are just some suggested miscellaneous items to think about as you're prepping. And that is how I prepare for canning season for myself, to make some of these beautiful items that some I do year-round regularly, others I just kind of slide in every now and then, just for a little bit of a variety. You can check down below in the show notes for a lot of contact information and links and such to help you in your area. And while you're down there, please hit like and subscribe, because that does help. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, feedback, concerns, by all means, please reach out to me. I'm on Facebook at Stacey Can Can. You can at me on Instagram and TikTok at Stacey Can Can. My website is www.staceycancan.com, and my email is info@staceycancan.com. I'm also on LinkedIn at Stacey Can Can. Thanks so much for joining me today, and until next time, happy canning and happy canning season.